The story of Nehemiah. The sun had barely risen over Susa, the capital of Persia, when Nehemiah, cupbearer to King Artaxerxes, stepped into the royal hall. His hands were steady. He had learned long ago that even a flicker of nervousness could cost a man his life in this profession. As cupbearer, Nehemiah tasted the king's wine for poison, stood by him during meals, and witnessed the heartbeat of the empire from only a few steps away. But this morning, something was different. A heaviness clung to Nehemiah's chest like a stone. His brother Hanani had arrived from Judah the day before. Nehemiah had asked about Jerusalem, hoping for good news, hoping the homeland of his ancestors was healing. Instead, he heard, "The survivors there are in great trouble and disgrace. The wall of Jerusalem is broken down, and its gates have been burned with fire." The words had struck him deeply. Walls meant safety. Gates meant dignity. And without them, Jerusalem, God's chosen city, lay exposed to mockery and danger. Nehemiah had wept. For days he fasted. He prayed long into the night, pouring out his heart. "Lord, give me favor before the king." A bold request. Standing before King Artaxerxes that morning, Nehemiah tried to hide his sorrow, but the king noticed immediately. "Why is your face sad?" the king asked. "This is nothing but sorrow of heart." The room held its breath. Nehemiah whispered a prayer in his mind. Then courage rose within him like a spark in dry wood. "O king," he said, "may you live forever. How can I not be sad when the city of my ancestors lies in ruins and its gates are burned?" The king leaned forward. "What do you want?" And just like that, the door opened. Nehemiah asked for permission to rebuild Jerusalem. Surprisingly, miraculously, the king not only agreed but also supplied timber, letters of safe passage, and military escorts. God had answered. Returning to a broken city. When Nehemiah arrived in Jerusalem, he didn't announce his mission. Instead, under the cover of night, he rode out on a small donkey to inspect the shattered walls. He saw stones scattered like bones, gates blackened by fire, houses leaning precariously, families living in fear of raiders who could strike at any hour. His heart burned with purpose. The next day, he gathered the officials and the people and declared, "Let us rise up and build." And the people responded, "We will." The work and the warfare. From dawn till dusk, the sounds of rebuilding filled Jerusalem, stones scraping against stone, hammers striking wood, shouts of workers rebuilding their heritage. But not everyone was pleased. Sanballat, Tobiah, and other local officials mocked them. What are these feeble Jews doing? Even if a fox jumped on their wall, it would collapse. The insults stung, but Nehemiah ignored them. When mockery failed, the enemies plotted violence. Nehemiah immediately stationed guards, armed the workers, and declared, "Do not be afraid. Remember the Lord, great and awesome, and fight for your families." So the people worked with one hand and held a weapon in the other. It was not just construction, it was warfare with trowels and swords. A wall completed in only 52 days, the walls of Jerusalem rose to full height again. The enemies were stunned. How could decades of ruin be undone in less than 2 months? The answer was clear. The people had a mind to work, and God had strengthened their hands. Jerusalem stood once more, not just as a city, but as a symbol of hope. Reform and renewal. But Nehemiah knew a wall was not enough. He confronted injustice, ended exploitation of the poor, restored proper worship, and called the people back to God's law. Under his leadership, Jerusalem wasn't just rebuilt physically, it was rebuilt spiritually. And when Nehemiah later returned to Persia, his heart remained tied to that ancient city, knowing he had played a part in restoring God's people. The legacy Nehemiah wasn't a priest. He wasn't a prophet. He wasn't a warrior. He was a man with a burden and the courage to act on it. His story reminds us that sometimes God uses ordinary people in extraordinary ways, not because of their position, but because of their passion, their faith, and their willingness to say, "Send me." Don't forget to leave a heart or thumb up in the comments section.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments below.